Hello everyone, welcome back to another Goodgame Empire video. This video will be about defense. I did, in the past, make a video about defense, but that was mainly surface level and just an example of me defending. In this video, I will be going much more in-depth and talking about offline defense setups, online defense setups, how to defend against specific types of attacks, Castellans, Hall of Legends, and other defense-related stuff. First off, offline defense setups. You should always have a solid offline defense setup. Your alliance will usually have one. If not, here is a good solid defense setup for you to use. You should be using 75% melee, 25% range, along with 3 lime powder bombs, and 1 Karamata arrowhead, bulwark, or other 50% range bonus item. If you can, an arrow slit with a 70% range bonus is even better. This setup is useful because it has mainly melee defense troops, so if the attacker uses matlets, they're not going to instantly destroy your defense. However, it does have some ranged defense troops, so it forces the attacker to use matlets, because if they don't, then they'll be fighting partially ranged troops with their ranged attackers, and be fighting melee troops as well, which have the lime powder bomb bonus, making it very hard for them to break through. This setup, with a decent wall space Castellan, can hold the wall against most 5th wave and even some 6th wave attacks. You should always be using the best moat tools you can in this. In this case, I am using fire moats, which give 110% moat protection. Next, I will be talking about Castellans. There are a couple easy to get Castellans. One of them is the Samurai Castellan, which you can get from the Samurai Invasion. This one has 20% base courtyard, and it is a 100-100 when fully upgraded. It doesn't have any wall space, however, so unless you're facing a really weak attack, this Castellan will not be able to hold the wall. It's best used for when you're pretty sure you're not going to be able to hold the wall anyway, and need as much courtyard as you can get, say if you're getting a lot of support and defending against a powerful attack. Another good courtyard strength Castellan is the Nomad Castellan. This Castellan has 65% courtyard, is a 90-90, and has 20 wall space. The 20 wall space will not be able to hold the wall against powerful 5th wave and basically any 6th wave attack. However, it does still have a decent amount of courtyard, also slightly weaker than the Nomad cast because it's a 90-90 instead of a 100-100. It is still a solid option for defending the courtyard. The best free-to-play Castellan in the game, and the one you should be using if you can, is the Bearmont Castellan. This is a 110-110 with 40% courtyard combat strength and 40% unit limit on the castle wall. Again, this, with a good amount of wall space, meaning you have your towers fully upgraded and a good build item, can hold the wall against most 5th and 6th wave attacks. It also has 40% courtyard, and since it's a 110-110, you already get a 20% bonus to courtyard compared to a usual 90-90, so it might be more helpful to think of it as 60% bonus courtyard, not 40%. There are also some bonuses you can get to defense from the Hall of Legends. Specifically, the Steadfast modifier, as well as the Eagle Eye modifier, will give you 5% extra melee and ranged combat strength, which is useful in defense. Upgrading these fully will also unlock the Nerves of Steel. This gives you 10% extra unit limit on the castle wall, which is useful and can make the difference between holding a flank and losing it, which can make a difference between gaining 30% boost in the courtyard or not, which can make the difference between losing and winning a battle. It is important you get this if you think that you are not powerful enough in defense to hold without it. However, most players will want to have their Hall of Legends set to attack. Now, for the third part of this video, you should always be recruiting the best defenders you can. If you can see, the best defenders I can recruit are Sentinel and Scouts of the Kingsguard. These are the best point defenders in the game, as you can see here. However, you should always be striving to get Ruby defenders. These defenders are better than coin defenders. If you can look, these have significantly higher stats than Kingsguard. A veteran Flamebearer has almost 200 melee combat strength and 80 range, whereas if you look at a Kingsguard, it has 150 melee defense and only 65 range. Here we go, let's close this window. Now, an important thing to remember is that melee soldiers will always be better at defending the wall against other melee attackers. Ranged attackers will always be better at defending against other ranged attackers. Did I just say attackers twice? What I meant to say is ranged defenders will be better at holding the wall against ranged attackers, and melee attackers will be better at holding the wall against melee attack. I don't know if I still said it twice, but you know what I mean. Now, when should you use specific tools in your defense? Well, I'm glad you asked. If you see an incoming attack with no moat tools and simply all mantlets, you're going to want to make sure you do not have any ranged soldiers on the wall. You're then going to want to go full lime bombs, because the attacker probably has enough wall to reduce your wall to a negligible amount, and lime powder bombs are the best tool for increasing your melee soldiers' defensive capabilities. They also cannot be reduced by any attack tool, which makes them an invaluable defensive tool. You should always make sure you have a good supply of lime bombs. If you are trying to hold the center against an attack, then again, you are going to want to go full melee on the wall, because usually the attacker will be sending melee in the center. In fact, it is very rare for you to ever defend the wall with ranged troops. If you do, you are vulnerable to being completely destroyed by one wave with, say, 40 mantlets on it, reducing your ranged combat strength to 0. So, that's why you should never use ranged defenders on the wall, unless you see the attack and it has 0 mantlets. If it has any mantlets at all, just do not risk it. Melee defenders. That's about it for this video. I hope this helped you make your defense stronger. Again, basically, get a good Castellan, because you cannot defend properly against any decent attack if you do not have a good Castellan. Make sure you're always using proper defense tools, and make sure you're always defending with mainly or completely melee units.